Hello everyone, hope you're having a good day. In this video we're going to talk about the first rule of algebra. Hopefully you've already seen the video on the zeroth rule, but the first rule of algebra is to do the same thing to both sides. And once again, this video assumes you have studied a bit of algebra already, and also fractions, including adding and multiplying fractions. And additionally, for this video, you should also have studied BODMAS or PEDMAS. So remember, in algebra, AB is the same as writing A times B, and A over B is the same as writing A divided by B. They are just two different ways of writing the same thing. And we can use that to help us when we rearrange equations. And algebra really is all about equations, mostly. The verb to equate means to make the same or to balance something, and an equation is a thing that you balance, like a set of scales. And in the center of the scales is the balance point. That is where we say a set of scales is balanced. And what is the balance point of an algebra equation? Well, the balance point is the equal sign. Everything in an equation is equated or balanced around the equal sign. And here we have an example of how an equation is balanced around an equal sign. And this leads to our rule: do the same thing to both sides so that we can keep the equation balanced. In this equation, x plus 4 is balanced with 6. We write our equation x plus 4 equals 6. If we want to take 4 from one side, then to keep the equation balanced, we must also take 4 from the other side. And so we have x plus 4 minus 4 equals 6 minus 4. Here is another example of balancing an equation, and it works the same way when you deal with multiplication or division. In this equation, 3x equals 18. If we want to divide one side by 3 so that we can get x on its own, we must divide the other side by 3 as well. And so 3 times 3 divided by 3 equals 18 divided by 3. Every time we do this, we are trying to make the equation simpler so that we can understand what it is really saying. We can also do multi-step combinations, but you must keep the equation balanced at every step. Do the same thing to both sides. In this equation, 3x plus 6 equals 18. First, we subtract 6 from both sides, and that gives us 3x equals 12. Now we can divide both sides by 3, and that gets us down to x equals 4. So we now know what x is. You will notice in this example that we did the subtraction before we did the division. This is important, and we will talk about it next time. So the first rule of algebra is do the same thing to both sides. Remember it. But there is an alternative rule that can help us sometimes. This rule can be faster, but you do have to be careful when you use it. The alternative rule is change sides, change sign. This rule means that when you move something to the other side of an equation, you must change it to the opposite sign. Let's go back to our last example. 3x plus 6 equals 18. If we move the plus 6 to the other side, then it becomes minus 6, and we get to 3x equals 12. If we now move the times 3 to the other side, it becomes divided by 3. And this gets us down to x equals 4 with fewer operations. It's a simpler process. So change sides, change sign seems easier, so why must we be careful? Let's take one more look. 3x plus 6 equals 18. Say we want to move the times 3 first, then we get a different result. And now we have x plus 6 equals 6. This gets us down to x equals 0 if we subtract 6 from both sides. X equals 0 is not an illegal answer. That's fine, but it's the wrong answer for this equation because 3 times 0 plus 6 does not equal 18. The answer to these problems is about the order of operations, which you should have studied as BODMAS. There are a few more things you need to know about how to rearrange algebra equations, and we're going to look at these in the third video on algebra. I hope this video has helped you understand algebra a little better. Feel free to watch it again or find another video that you understand more clearly. Thank you for watching.